So at unexpected times, life is going to throw moments at you where you're going to have to choose if you want to be vulnerable or not. And the majority of people are going to, once you hit that vulnerable spot, it's going to enact some sort of fear. And your fear response is going to either lead to whatever it is that you use to cope with. You're going to have like anger issues. You're going to react very quickly, just pushing them away, some way to get somebody away. Or you can choose the brave thing. And the brave thing is to be open to being vulnerable with people. If you never allow yourself to be vulnerable with people, what you're going to find is that you're never going to be fully connected with them. Until you actually do that, there is a huge wall up for the connection. And so one of the things that you have to learn is how to be strong while still being vulnerable. And that's a hard one to get to. It requires a lot of self-love. It requires the acceptance of the idea that if you are vulnerable, you can get hurt. And a lot of people, they think that you can. So here's the thing. Somewhere in our brain, it's wired to think that we can actually prevent being hurt in situations, that we have that power, that control, and we don't. We don't have that control. You will eventually lose the people that you love the most. That's a fact. You may have to go through hard times with the people that you love the most. That's a fact. You probably will. You may have to be uncomfortable with people. I'm going to tell you, you will have to be uncomfortable with people. You'll have to make new connections. You're going to have to let connections go. This is just part of it. It's part of accepting the human experience while we're here on the planet Earth, is to make sure that you understand that hurt is normal. It's a normal part of being a human. So vulnerability, when we come up against it, the first way that you can fail at that is to allow your fear response, your first response that makes you back off, push them away, however it is that you deal with that response, to take that and run with it. The most brave thing that you can do is to accept that with true connection that requires vulnerability comes a true reward, and it also comes with the guarantee of heartache. But you have to decide, is the reward greater than the heartache? And if you never decide that, if you always think that the heartache is worse, you will never truly experience what it means to be connected to another human being. And so your job is to work on strengthening that muscle, getting it to where you feel comfortable in that situation, where you know that you can make it through the hard times. And I'm going to tell you, if you're here, you've made it through hard times already. And if you are living the normal life, actually, if you're living life, period, you're going to have to experience hurt and heartache and pain. You're guaranteed to experience it at some point. So the logic that you can keep yourself away from it, it's irrational. The other thing is that if you do get hurt, you have to understand that it's not as personal as you think it is. The rejection is a form of protection. And I hear this all the time. The rejection is just an answer. So you might get rejected. It might hurt your ego. Sorry. The other thing is that you need to make sure that you understand that your self-worth is not determined by another human. It's determined by you. And so if you are unable to figure out how much you're worth, you're unable to connect the dots there. It's always going to be scary to be vulnerable. But if you can connect the dots and you can live in this idea that you are enough, that the connection is just the icing on the cake, that you'll be fine without it, it's going to hurt, but that you can make it. And who knows, if we want to live outside of the lack mindset, it might be the most wonderful experience that you ever will have on the planet Earth. And so, for me, facing the vulnerability brings about excitement. It's a challenge. It's something that I can work through and I can look at, and on the other side might be this great gift. And refusing to be vulnerable seems like a disappointment. It's like I'm already disappointed. I've already set myself up for that. And that's a lack mindset. So be brave. Be vulnerable if you can. Figure out that you're worth so much more than you think you are. But anyway, y'all have a good Saturday. I'll talk to you later.